Kathleen and Todd had lived together for almost 2 decades. They were about to celebrate the 20th anniversary of their union. They had everything they needed to be happy: their own home, a car, and 2 adorable daughters whom they loved dearly. However, there came a moment of tension in their relationship. Kathleen suddenly expressed her desire to divorce, wanting to forget 2 decades of life together. Todd was stunned by this news. He was faced with a choice: start over or look for hidden reasons for their breakup. Kathleen admitted that she had been thinking about divorce for a long time. She longed for privacy and new acquaintances. Todd, though shocked, supported Kathleen's decision. He recalled his devotion and love for his family, marveling at the lack of problems in their intimate life. The couple discussed the terms of the temporary separation for 90 days, after which each would have the opportunity to date other people without mutual recriminations of infidelity. They agreed that mutual consent would be required to stop the divorce process, although either party could continue without the other's approval. Todd emphasized that he, too, had the same freedom as Kathleen. They decided to prepare all the necessary paperwork together to ensure transparency and understanding at every stage of their separate lives. Kathleen hesitated, trying to convince Todd to confront the idea that one party might have the upper hand. She explained that, despite her desire for a divorce, she was not looking to complicate Todd's life. Todd, for his part, emphasized that he thought Kathleen was a good wife, mother, and partner. He was not going to interfere with her decision, although Kathleen assured that her desire for change was caused by personal feelings of insecurity. Todd considered the situation carefully. He inquired about Kathleen's success in legal matters. She revealed her intention to hire attorney Junior Lewis, known for his work on their mutual acquaintance Monica's divorce. Todd disagreed with that choice and stated his intention to involve his cousin Sally in the case. Todd proposed a 2-day divorce preparation period to begin their formal separation on the 1st of the month. Kathleen questioned the need for such arrangements. Todd explained that the idea was to simulate post-divorce life during their temporary separation. Feeling hesitant, Kathleen listened to Todd's suggestion to discuss things over a cup of coffee in the kitchen. Leaving the room, Todd headed for the kitchen. Left alone, Kathleen, deep in thought, followed him. When she entered the kitchen, she found Todd already making coffee and taking notes. So much to think about. Where to start? He began. Let's start with the kids, he suggested. Kathleen, puzzled, asked what he meant. Todd explained that they needed to agree on how and what they would tell the children about the divorce to make sure that the girls didn't feel guilty about what had happened. Kathleen was concerned about her daughter's reactions because they were emotionally vulnerable and could take the news hard. Why do we need to talk so much now? Maybe we should wait 90 days? Maybe we won't have to say anything at all, she suggested. Todd, however, replied, "How are you going to explain when they ask why Dad doesn't live here anymore? Or why you don't live here? We'll still be their parents." Todd suggested that Kathleen continue to live in their home during the temporary separation. He suggested that they meet occasionally so as not to disrupt the children's routine. Kathleen expressed doubts. She didn't believe such a plan would work. In her opinion, coordinating visits could lead to conflicts if one's interests conflicted with the other's plans. Kathleen also pointed out that this approach would not allow them to assess what life would be like after the divorce. In addition, the children could learn from others that they had been seen in the company of others. Kathleen emphasized the need to inform not only the children, but also relatives and friends about the divorce to avoid misunderstanding or suspicion. Todd continued to reflect on the difficulties. He expressed concern that the children might perceive the divorce as their fault. He recognized that it is difficult for children of divorced parents to avoid such feelings. Todd suggested that special attention be paid to emphasizing their love for the children and ensuring that both parents speak to them in a unified way. He also touched on the possible need for occupational therapy for the children, noting that the children might love the new members of their extended family in the future. Kathleen listened intently, still digesting the information. Todd insisted on the need to plan for holidays, family events, and finances. He pointed out that they would have less money if they added the rent on his new apartment to their current expenses. Todd emphasized that assets would be divided equally, which would require closing joint accounts and alimony arrangements. There was a lot of business to take care of before the separation could begin. Todd promised to try to find an apartment closer to his work so the girls could stay with him. He reminded them that standard visitation arrangements usually included weekends and major holidays. Kathleen remained silent, not knowing how to respond to everything that had been said. Todd explained to Kathleen that he intended to remain a part of their children's lives as much as possible. However, he cautioned that Kathleen's new partner also had to be willing to share responsibilities. Weekday meetings can be difficult because of school schedules, he said. Todd mentioned that if his new partner has children, he may have to help them with homework and extracurricular activities. He also expressed concern about having to store clothing and personal hygiene items in 2 different homes. Todd noted that school transportation could be an issue if their children's school was not on the bus route. This could disrupt their daily routines, and adjusting to such a change would be a challenge for both of them. Monica, according to Kathleen, promised that her husband would agree to the divorce and continue to fulfill family responsibilities while allowing her to date others. Kathleen admitted to Todd that she felt a loss of control over the situation and that she needed a break. She hoped that she could influence Todd to use their closeness to avoid sharing responsibilities and finances. Todd apologized to Kathleen, saying that he needed to write something down before going to bed. He explained that the more they prepared for their first day of separation, the better they would feel. After wishing Kathleen a good night, Todd left. She tried to sleep, but her mood was disrupted by her conversation with Monica about Todd's unexpected reaction. Eventually, this newfound sense of reassurance allowed her to fall asleep. Upon awakening, Kathleen discovered that Todd had been awake beside her all night. She found him asleep in the guest bedroom. There was a notebook on the table in the kitchen titled Items for Change. It listed mortgage, homeowner's insurance, utilities, cable, cell phone, internet, car payment, car insurance, health and dental insurance, and memberships to Amazon Prime, LifeLock, LifeFlight, and many other services. Todd also began planning for his new expenses while in the apartment. He created a budget indicating a shortfall of several $100s per month to maintain his current standard of living. Todd highlighted possible ways to cut expenses, including giving up his usual entertainment. Kathleen grudgingly grimaced as she realized she would have to cut back on her spending on gym memberships, a women's group, and dining out. Todd had made a list of tasks for her, ranging from car maintenance to grocery shopping. Kathleen was frustrated, wondering why Todd wasn't acting like she expected and not catering to her desires. Deciding to seek advice, Kathleen called Monica. Speaking quietly while Todd slept nearby, she heard from Monica that Todd had agreed to a divorce and would no longer fulfill many of his former responsibilities. Monica assured Kathleen that Todd was probably bluffing, trying to make her think that he needed her more than she needed him. Monica emphasized the importance of controlling the children and intimacy to keep Todd in line. Kathleen hesitated, doubting the value of her relationship with Robert and worrying about Todd's actions. Monica insisted that Kathleen stay strong and wait until Todd's true intentions were clear. When Todd woke up, Kathleen nervously offered him coffee. Todd explained that the late coffee had disturbed his sleep. "Why didn't you come to bed?" he asked. "I came up, but I didn't trust myself," she replied in confusion. Todd clarified, "What do you mean, honey?" Kathleen admitted, "I saw you sleeping and it made me happy. You're still the most attractive man I know. I am more certain than ever that the separation arrangements should begin as soon as possible. Although the official breakup doesn't start until the beginning of the month, it really started that Tuesday when you told me I was unhappy. It's going to be hard for me, but I really want to see you happy, even if I no longer play an important role in your life," he continued. "Relax, give me some time to find myself. I'm sure we'll stay married and things will be even better than before," Kathleen offered. "I'd like to believe that." Todd admitted, "I've decided to take the day off. Billy can supervise the repair crews during the day so I can take care of the property division issues. It doesn't go into effect until the 1st of the month, so we'll have 90 full days in which we can actually experience what it would be like if we were divorced. By the way, I'm going to give us both more cash than usual. We will need to use cash until we get our own credit and debit cards. Fortunately, we both have separate current accounts in addition to the large joint account. I will transfer half the amount from the joint account to each of our separate accounts. We need to do that now so we can get new cards and checks tonight. On the 1st of the month, I'll tell you what I've done and what you need to do to get control of your portion of the asset. Oh, you'd better hurry up so you won't be late for work. I'll make the kids breakfast and take them to school," Todd instructed Kathleen. This passage could have come from a memoir. Upon returning home from work, I noticed signs of Todd's presence throughout the day. Emotionally prepared for a financial discussion, Kathleen sat at the kitchen table and looked through Todd's notebook. Todd added a few more items to the list, but my attention was drawn to a new document entitled Possible Women for Today. In it was Kathleen's sister Janet. "How dare you try to steal my husband?" Kathleen exclaimed. "Hey, slow down, girl. What are you talking about?" she innocently asked. "Todd made a list of women who want to date him, and your name is on that list," I said. "I don't know about any list, but I told him once, after I had a drink, that if he ever got mad and left you, I wanted to take your place," Janet replied. "Wait a minute, sister. Did he catch you with someone, or did you catch him?" I asked. "That's not the point. I just told him I needed time to myself to explore a new relationship," I explained. "Yeah, you're looking for that on the side. Which one is it? Or is there more than one?" Janet interrupted. "No, I haven't been intimate with anyone yet. I'll just get through the 90-day separation and then decide if we want to stay married or not," I replied. "Well, obviously you have someone in mind, but I don't care," I said. "So you're telling me that you'll be legally separated soon, and if someone wants to have sex with Todd, there's nothing you can do about it. Give me a date and I can guarantee that a second after midnight I'll be begging him for a date." She expressed her willingness to use her body at his will. "I will assure him that I am not your sister and pledge absolute loyalty to him for the rest of our lives. If you won't break away from him, what can you do to make the legal separation on the side of your work? And remember, you sought this out after all these years bragging about what a wonderful provider, husband, father, and lover he is. It's stupid to throw all that away. You're suddenly naive. Let me know when it's ready. It's the only time I'll gladly accept help from my big sister," Janet finished as she hung up the phone. Kathleen didn't know what to do to get back to the story after that call. Kathleen tried to calm herself down, but her emotions took over again as she looked at the list of women. First on the list was Jenny, his secretary, a single mom, nearly 20 years younger than Todd. Kathleen suspected that Jenny might have been interested in Todd because of her need for financial support. The list also included the names of two of Todd's co-workers, several recognizable neighbors, and other local women. Kathleen began to question whether Todd's attraction extended beyond their relationship and wondered if he was already planning someone specific for the duration of their separation. When Todd entered the house and saw his wife studying a notebook, he anticipated a conversation on the subject. During the conversation, Kathleen didn't hold back and accused him of looking for a replacement. "Well, Todd, it looks like you wasted no time finding a replacement for me." "My dear, how can you say that?" Todd asked, defending himself and claiming that he was simply reacting to her search for a new partner. Kathleen denied having a new boyfriend and said that she wanted to explore a new relationship. The mention of Robert Turner piqued Todd's curiosity, who recounted rumors spread by Sylvia, his boss's secretary, about Kathleen and Robert meeting for lunch. Todd persistently questioned the nature of their interactions, wondering if there were moments that Kathleen would rather keep from him. Kathleen hesitated, but then recalled the incident in the elevator. Todd insisted, clarifying whether there were situations that Robert's wife would have disapproved of if he were married. Kathleen clarified that Robert wasn't married, which prompted Todd to check Robert's Facebook page to confirm that marital status information. Todd shared details with Kathleen that she thought were questionable. Kathleen suggested that Robert's divorce information might have been out of date, pointing out that his social media page had been updated just 3 days earlier. She asked Todd why he hadn't mentioned such an important detail about Robert's marital status, especially after seeing his wife's fresh message about wanting to reunite with Robert and their sons after baseball season. Kathleen assured her that Robert hadn't revealed his marital status to her, emphasizing that she would never commit acts that could threaten someone else's marriage. However, Todd pointed out that she seemed to have no problem jeopardizing her own marriage. There was silence between them for a moment, and Kathleen realized that she needed time to think. She thought of Robert as an important reason she wanted to consummate her marriage, but knew she couldn't let Todd find out. Minimizing Robert's importance in her life, she mentioned that he was just one of many men she could be interested in and that she could make a list too, as Todd had done. Kathleen remembered that if they decided to stay together after the breakup, they would need to exchange medical reports to make sure they didn't have any sexually transmitted diseases. Todd tried to caution her, noting that it wasn't just about her, but also about her potential partners and their pasts. Kathleen was disappointed, and Todd subtly enjoyed continuing to change the subject by talking about his efforts to ease the process of their breakup. Todd carefully worked through the tasks, starting with managing bank accounts and credit cards to make it easier to access finances. He assured Kathleen that mortgage and utility issues would be resolved in the coming weeks. Todd shared the news about the two-bedroom apartment at the Royal Arms complex where his secretary, Jenny, worked as the night manager. He explained that because of her status as a service professional, a 50% discount on rent could be obtained, which would improve the financial situation to support Kathleen and the children. Todd recalled the 90-day separation and suggested that if Kathleen played her cards right, she might consider returning. She hadn't signed the lease yet, and Todd assured her that there was still time to think about it. Kathleen was simmering internally, but chose not to express her thoughts out loud. Todd continued without waiting for her reaction, mentioning Jenny's interest and her offer to meet despite the age difference. He politely declined because of workplace rules. Kathleen's frustration grew, but she remained silent. When Todd continued to share the news, he excitedly reported, "I have something you'll really like. I've booked us 2 tickets for a 10-day vacation to Hawaii." He was proud of the surprise he had in store for their 20th anniversary. Kathleen instantly perked up, expressing her long-held desire to visit Hawaii. She was thrilled at the prospect of relaxing on the beach and swimming in the ocean. My response, however, was not as enthusiastic as hers. "We're not going to Hawaii," I stated, remembering her request for a divorce. I explained that when I tried to cancel the tickets, I was only able to get a 20% refund. Despite this setback, I thought the trip could still be a dream come true for her, even if without me. I offered to reissue the tickets to her and another person to be named later, emphasizing that this could be a good start for her new relationship. Kathleen, overwhelmed with disappointment, suggested that we postpone the breakup and cancel the trip in order to rekindle our relationship. However, I gave it serious thought and expressed doubts about the possibility of returning to the relationship, especially given the possible scenario of a future divorce even if she canceled. I believed that her initial desire for a divorce and my perceptions of her with Robert would continue to prevent me from feeling happy despite her requests. I reaffirmed my decision to proceed with the divorce. Kathleen was devastated and turned to her friend Monica for support. In a conversation with Monica, Kathleen shared her experiences, including the moment with the Hawaii tickets I had given her but refused to use with her. Monica, recognizing my manipulative tactics, assured Kathleen that because of her attractiveness and charm, she would be able to find a new partner and keep the family together. Kathleen vowed that she would make me pay for my actions. Monica, after revealing information about my plan, insisted that Kathleen not give up. When I returned downstairs with my luggage, Kathleen accused me of pretending to leave. I explained that I had only brought a few things to the apartment gradually, following Jenny's advice. I guessed that she had consulted Monica. I cautioned Kathleen against relying on the marital advice of a divorce expert like Monica. However, Kathleen defended Monica, claiming that she had Monica's support. Kathleen mentioned the Hawaii ticket situation, suggesting that it was a scam designed by me to manipulate her into giving up everything. She stated that it wouldn't work and that she still wanted a divorce. "There are plenty of guys who want me and will provide what I need," Kathleen said. I recognized that she was absolutely right. Guys who want you, there's no question about it. You'll have plenty of offers once they know you're available. I always thought I was the luckiest man in the world because I had such a beautiful wife, a wonderful companion in raising my children, and, until recently, a faithful wife and lover. You're wrong about going to Hawaii. I can prove it. All you have to do is call Lois Simpson at Flightright Travel Agency. She's organizing the trip. I picked up the phone and called. "This is Todd Sinclair again. Louie, my wife is listening to us on speakerphone. Can you tell her about the trip?" "Todd, I'm really sorry you can't go. It seems like you really wanted to surprise your wife and enjoy a vacation together. What's troubling you, Mrs. Sinclair? Tell me exactly what was planned for this so-called trip." Kathleen growled. "It's your 10-day trip to 2 islands. Includes hotel accommodations, meals, transportation, hula lessons, luau, tiki dancing, and surfing. All in a romantic setting. Todd first called about 3 months ago, chose this trip 2 months ago, and paid for it 2 weeks later. Yesterday, he called to cancel and I refunded 20%. He said you will find someone else to go with you. He mentioned what kind of husband he is. You are really lucky. Do you have any other questions? You need to give me the name of someone else as soon as possible. I can't book the plane tickets until I know this man's name. No, there are no more questions. I'll call you soon and give you a name, Kathleen said. After a few seconds, she realized, you think you tricked me again, don't you? You agreed with me to pretend to plan a trip to Hawaii before I started talking seriously about divorce. I'm smarter than that. Todd took a deep breath and suggested discussing the situation with Kathleen's parents. What do my parents have to do with this? Who's going to look after the girls while we're gone? Kathleen asked. Todd insisted, let me call them. Kathleen was caught off guard. No, you don't need to do that. I need some time to think, she said. Sorry, Kat, I'm already on the phone, Todd replied. Kathleen's mother picked up the phone. How are the girls? It's good to hear from you, she said. Hi, Mom. Kathleen began hesitantly. Hi, Mom. This is Todd. We're on speakerphone. Hold on, I'll also call your father, Todd added. Harold joined the conversation. Hey guys, what's up? Kathleen was silent, so Todd took the lead. Kathleen already knows everything, so you don't have to hide it, son, Harold said. We're sorry you can't go. You didn't tell us why when you called this morning. I hope it's not an illness. When you called and said we wouldn't be watching the girls while you were in Hawaii, it was a disappointment. We were looking forward to having the girls with us for 10 days. We felt sorry for Kathleen because you couldn't join her. We know how much she would have enjoyed this trip with you. Have you decided who to take with you yet? Kathleen's mom asked. Not yet, Mom, answered Kathleen. Whoever stays behind will have a hard time. How long has it been since Todd talked to you about going to Hawaii? Kathleen's mother asked. I'm not quite sure, replied Harold. You remember it was around New Year's Eve, don't you? 2 or 3 months ago. He mentioned that he wanted to warn us so we could stock up on appetizers. Those two can eat anything and never gain a pound, Kathleen's mother interjected. Sensing that something might be wrong, Kathleen's mother asked, Why do you ask when Todd was talking to us? Is there something between you two? Oh my God, did you two break up? No, Mom. Actually, we kind of decided that we needed some time away from each other to rebuild our marriage, and then maybe we would get back together, Kathleen explained. I always knew I couldn't lie to my parents. They have always been honest and open with me. Last Sunday night, I told Todd I wanted a divorce. Sighs and sobs were heard on the other end of the wire. That's not exactly what I wanted to say. The first step in divorce proceedings is a 90-day separation. I had hoped this period would give me the opportunity to explore new possibilities and become a better wife and mother, as my daughter says. I know a lie when I hear one. Kathleen, do you have someone on the side? No, Daddy, no. I can't believe you could think that about me. We raised you better than that, he said, disappointed. Don't expect us to be nice to your new boyfriend. Todd, we're sorry. At least promise us you'll let us see our grandchildren after the divorce. Before Todd could respond, Kathleen cried. Todd claimed that the whole thing was an exaggeration. I've changed my mind. No divorce, no separation. We'll talk later when things settle down, Kathleen said. You need to pull yourself together. The girls will be home soon. Where are you going to go? I don't want a divorce. You don't need to go anywhere. You unilaterally stated you wanted a divorce without talking to me. Now you think you can unilaterally call it off because things aren't going the way you planned, Todd said. You don't seem to realize that I have a voice too. After what I found out about you last week, I'm not sure giving up on the divorce is a good idea. I grab a sleeping bag from the garage and stay in the apartment for the night. Todd, please don't go. I'm sorry you said it was okay before I mentioned wanting a divorce. You can't just forget about it and go back to the way things were. Like you said, you were happy. I was very happy, but I can't forget how you said you were unhappy and how you were planning an affair with Robert. Like I said, you had already committed adultery. Sally told me that drawing up divorce papers would be easy. Todd took a deep breath and remarked that if those were the standard terms, Kathleen would probably get the papers tomorrow. I'm not signing them, he said firmly. It doesn't really matter. You just have to make sure the papers are officially served. He suggested that Kathleen could do it at his work, where there would be plenty of witnesses. Maybe even Robert should sue for alienated affection, he added, pondering the possibility of accusing his boss of violating company policy. However, that could mean they would both lose their jobs. But that seemed like a last resort. I really need you to be there for the girls after the divorce, he continued. I'll just talk to Robert's wife. That should be enough for him to settle down, Todd said. Why are you being so harsh? I love you and you love me. Can't we find a way to make this right? Kathleen was on the verge of tears. You said divorce would be painful for both of us. Don't you want to avoid that pain? I promise never to bring up this divorce scandal again. Please stay and let's get through this. Tears streamed down Kathleen's face as Todd listened in silence. She hoped she had made an impression on him. I'll tell you I'll take my suitcase and sleeping bag to the apartment, he replied. Write down a few things. Your words and actions have hurt me more than you realize. Are your answers what I'm looking for? Perhaps I should consider canceling or at least postponing the divorce. I'll be back at 7 o'clock. You might want to send the kids to their parents or friends so we can talk freely. Thank you for thinking about it first. I want you to not just beg me, but beg me to forgive you. Second, tell Robert not to contact you again. If he persists, tell him I can file a lawsuit against him and your company if he doesn't comply. A third list of all the reasons I should consider staying married to you. Call Monica and tell her you never want to talk to her again. I can't bear the thought of hearing her name. Do you understand what I'm asking you? If you want us to have a chance to stay married. Yes, darling, I think so. I'll have everything done and ready to go by 7, Kat said, and Todd picked up his suitcase and left. Kathleen stared at the end of the list, rehearsing what she would say to Monica. Listening to you was the worst decision I ever made. You almost made me lose everything I care about. Don't contact me again. No more calls, texts, emails, or even thoughts of me. If you see me in a store or a restaurant, leave. Otherwise, I am not responsible for my actions.